Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folare. Today I have with me Daddy Odufowokon, Assistant Editor at The Nation. As always, thank you very much for coming on. And Dr. Dan Ekere. But you know, it's Professor Dan Ekere that I want to say. But for the moment, Dr. Dan Ekere, a lecturer in philosophy department, University of Lagos. Thank you very much for coming on. It's been quite a while. Yeah. It's been a bit.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be
here. Indeed. Now, we thought we'd talk this morning about this whole money ritual killings going on that have hit the airwave, and it's going on in quite a number of places in the country. It's not just, but I suppose the latest or the one that has caused the most noise in the press is the latest, which is the incident in Ogun State, where a bunch of youths, teenagers, they've been apprehended and police are talking with them, and we're hearing all sorts of improbables, meaning that it is reported that they say that, they got the idea from social media, etc., etc. So there's been plenty of reportage on it. Dari will come in there. And Dr. Dan Ekere, I wanted to find out for you, being a lecturer in philosophy, what is the philosophical construct? Is it a black thing? Is it a Nigerian thing or an African thing, where people think that you can take the life of some individual and somehow, through hocus pocus and whatever, it becomes money? Now, I will admit that in my Yoruba culture, and I can't speak for any other people, in my Yoruba culture, it's a concept known, and it's a concept that is at least discussed, spoken about. But I would have thought that any modern Nigerian, never mind Yoruba man, and we've spoken to some of those traditional herbalists, who say there is no such thing. Don't let anybody tell you that it is a possibility. So, Dan, what do you think is going on mentally in the psyche of people who somehow override that biggest of taboos, taking a human life, and say that it's worth it because they'll get money out of it? Help me try and understand what's going on there. But okay, Dan, we did a package. So let's take this package first. Then I'll come to you for understanding. Let's take that package now.
Number of persons, especially youths, who engage in money rituals have been on an alarming increase in Nigeria. Innocent souls are being slaughtered and sensitive parts of their bodies removed as these criminals partake in a quest to get rich quickly. The recent gruesome killing of Sofiat Kehinde in Ogun State by 3 teenagers was one too many.
The upsurge of reported ritual killings.
Enugu legislator Tobi Okechukwu rises on a matter of urgent public importance on the need to end the menace. He wants all Nigerians to rise to the task of putting an end to the societal vice.
The House is mindful of the role of the Nigerian movie industry in molding behavior patterns in our society, vis-a-vis the mandate of the National Film and Video Censors Board as a clearinghouse for movies produced in our country. The House is cognizant that a lot needs to be done by the police and other law enforcement agencies to checkmate the ugly trend.
Also at Wednesday's plenary, respite came the way of health workers as a bill planning a ban on strikes failed to fly. The House insists it negates the provisions of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
The bill for an act to prohibit medical practitioners in employment of federal, state, and local governments as employees in the social services sector from embarking on strike.
No person shall be required to perform forced or compulsory labor. That's the clear provision of Section 34, subsection 1C.
You cannot make law that will be over and above the constitutional provision.
As a way of enhancing the nation's agricultural growth, the House gave support to the creation of an agricultural development trust fund.
The source of the finance for the trust fund is a 1% surcharge on all revenues of the federal government generated by all such agencies, such as Federal Inland Revenue, the Nigerian Cost of the Port Authority.
To curb recurring fire outbreaks at tank farms, the House passed a motion calling on the federal government to establish fire stations within communities hosting tank farms across the country. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
We did say we were showing you that package, but I guess we added a bit of what we refer to as a jara. It was the original reporter touched on a number of issues, but the very first is what concerns us. And Toby Okechukwu, you saw him there, of the PDP, he was speaking about this has become a big problem. So, Dan, back to you now. Is it that this is the way it's always been, but we didn't have the advantage of social media maybe 10, 15 years ago, where everything just, is broadcast, in a flash? That whole concept of taking a human life can somehow result in the murderer or murderers are becoming rich. That is a concept that is well known in Nigeria.
Yeah, that is correct. We are familiar with that something, but it wasn't something this rampant. It wasn't something so common.
Is it this rampant or just more reported today?
I don't think it's just more reported. We have cases that are actually increasing. I don't think this was a trend, and unfortunately, there seems to be some societal support in a way to the trend, because these young men are telling you that there are ways to make money without working, and all that is needed is, for somebody to be
some magical ritual.
Yes, that kind of
a sacrifice of a human being.
Yes, they will not sacrifice themselves. They have to sacrifice somebody else, which could be a relation. This day we even discovered that they sacrifice their girlfriends. Some parents even sacrifice children sacrifice parents, and all of that to make money. Whether it is the dead person that is now bringing the money also, I don't really know. But then you now see that some of these young men eventually come to functions, throwing money anyhow, and people actually celebrate them. So when you find a society that celebrates this kind of acts, that care little or nothing about how money is made, that all that they are interested in is the money, then people want to make the money anyhow, anyway. That is the challenge we are having, really. The values have so collapsed that we no longer place value on human life. It's not just the children alone. Even in a way, you can begin to look at the government as well. Look at the killings that go on in the north. They are equally going on practically everywhere in the country today. How have we really treated it to show that we have distaste for this? Mm-hmm. How have we handled it to show that we place a very high premium on human life? Mm-hmm. Today you hear 20 killed and it looks like it's no longer an issue. Now, it has gone to a point that we now have the youth getting fully involved. And to the extent that they now believe that you don't need to work. The only work you have to do is to look for who to kill.
Yeah.
And these killings are going on. Whether they are actually making the money through those herbalists, I don't get it. Whether they are equally going to rob, I don't get it.
I don't even understand it, because even I was reading that the EFCC was saying that fraudsters have now gone spiritual, whatever that means. Dari, you guys, you're doing a fantastic job. You are reporting it. I mean the whole press corps. So we come to know about this. What would be your take on that question I asked Dan about? Is this pretty much the way it's always been, just that we have more avenues of reportage, the social media, or indeed it has come more into the public view because it has increased?
Social media. I would differ a bit by submitting that I think that, it could be on the increase now, possibly, but it has always been like this. I recall growing up in Bariga. In those days, there were cases of child theft, kidnapping, and then the bodies were found later.
Exactly.
Some parts missing. It was common, especially while I was in primary school.
Yeah.
So much so that I remember a particular period of about 3 years, the school authorities had to tell parents, bring your children to school. and when they close, take them home. There was a period, because our school was not fenced, breaks were cancelled. Take your lunch in the classroom. So what I think is, it's a periodic thing. Because if you look at that period, what were we watching on TV? Rituals. Films that had to do with, that was when the likes of Baba Salaji, Don Rumoru,
Yes.
films that promoted the possibility of rituals giving you money. I remember very vividly.
Yeah.
That period left. There was another time when Nollywood went full blast ritualistic. Everything you watch was about cultists using their mother for ritual, using their brother. And in the East, then precisely, it became very prevalent. The issue of ritual killing and what have you, it was prevalent. Late 90s, early 90s, late 90s, it became prevalent. After a while, it sort of went down. Why, if you ask me, are we having it now? What are we watching in the movies again? Once again?
Yeah.
What are we seeing on social media? It was, we were all alive when Yahoo boys, as they are called, told us they have now added plus to Yahoo, and they call it Yahoo Plus. And we saw our filmmakers interpreting Yahoo Plus for all of us to mean when you had fed rituals to Yahoo to make it boost. That is musicians sang it as song. We danced to it. We saw broadcasters discussing it as topics, and we saw these boys displaying this wealth in manners that will provoke others to search for how they made their money and follow suit. If we lived through all this without correcting it, without making it a matter of national emergencies at that time, this is what we're asking for. And what we're asking for is that others should find out whether these things are true or not. I have listened to an herbalist saying there is no way human body parts can turn to money.
Exactly.
But go to Facebook. When these young boys, these teenagers were arrested in Abeokuta, and one of them claimed that he found this thing on Facebook, I took a step of faith or lack of it to find out. And I tell you, there are more than 10 sites on Facebook
but
prescribing how you can use human body parts,
you see,
to make money. These are posted by people, and we talk about national emergencies. I've not heard that those who posted those things have been tracked down, arrested, questioned, and we are talking about national emergency. So these are things we created, and we will have to sort it our own way.
And neither has the Facebook operators. They
bring down such sites.
We saw how Twitter actually, deleted.
But doctor, some of those things are either written in Yoruba or in Pidgin English.
Yes.
Mark Zuckerberg and his team may not understand those languages.
Well, you might say so, but I do believe that he must have people who operate various languages. You see, but again, now the truth is that video producers and the rest, musicians actually use what happens in society to do whatever they do. I'm sure that a lot of those things that they were doing were actually reflections of what was happening. Not that they were actually they have any intention to promote it, but as at that time, efforts were not actually made to address the issues. But again, I think it is equally going wider.
Okay, that got there. That efforts are not being made to stem this. Toby Okechukwu, the man we saw in the beginning of that report, the PDP, is that representative?
Menugo also.
Yes, he was saying that, look, it's the youth. Just a quote from him, he said something like, while citizens of other countries are embracing science and technology, Nigerian youths are turning to ritual killings. Now, this whole ritual killings business, I suppose it goes back into the belief system of other people.
Exactly.
Look, maybe if you were to take somebody from Denmark now and tell him that, let's kill that guy, we're youths, let's kill that guy, it'll become money. He's going to look at you and say, are you crazy or something? But for some reason, you might not get that reaction simply because these youths were born into those kind of notions. In other words, their parents would have heard about this kind of notions.
Parents have brought their children for the business as well. So,
now, what can be done? Nothing can, because that's why I brought up the matter of a belief system. You can't just order somebody to change their belief system.
Yes.
So if these kids, and don't get me wrong when I say this, kids are not known to be to always know what they are doing. So such an intricate matter, even if we were to consider it at all, you would expect that knowledgeable people, not kids whose sense of values, who probably, what do they want to do with the money? Maybe they want to buy a BMW or some other useless, ostentatious show of wealth. So it's already in our culture. How do we now get that out?
Though we are talking about the youth who are involved in this. The herbalists themselves are not youth. Most of the herbalists who are talking about who connive with these guys are not youth. Then the parents who are equally supporting some of these ones are not youth either. Now, when they find out, when they eventually make money through whatever means, and they buy cars for the parents and whatever, are they youth as well? So it's a societal thing now. It's not just about the youth. The youth are the one looking for these children kidnapped or whatever, but there are parents and elders connivance with it. It has to do with the fabrics, the values in society. You see, when you get to a point where you celebrate wealth without any consideration to how that wealth itself was acquired or gotten, then you are going to create the kind of sensation that will make others begin to look at it. Just like he said, okay, somebody has come throwing money anyhow, and in some cases we call them Yahoo boys, and they are happy. We celebrate them. All right, and you see the big cars they drive. Somebody somewhere said that, did you see what your...
They buy houses, or build houses.
The houses they build, they don't sleep inside. Yet, you find people who are still telling their children, did you see what they are doing there? Did you see your mates?
But Dan, this has taken hold. Because this is why they are reporting it. That's why they're even discussing it in the National Assembly. You saw the Deputy Minority Leader, Okechukwu, there. As far as he's concerned, he blames Nollywood. And you've spoken about Nollywood.
Yes, but I think the blame is directed to a wrong source. It's not just it's just one of them.
I think I agree with you.
It's just one of them. Nollywood is not
when the doctor said
the
filmmakers depict what happens in society, I don't have an issue with that. But I have an issue in how they promote it.
Good.
When you want to talk about what happens in society, it should be because you want to create corrections. This is what is happening, but it ought not to be happening. You watch some of these films. These guys are celebrated till the very end.
Okay.
And in such situation, you are encouraging others to do what they are doing.
Exactly.
And you have, like you said about value system, it has to do with our value system. And that is where we should go back to. I remember growing up, there was this young man. He later joined politics, became big and successful politically. He came back from abroad, did boreholes, water, for people in his community. And do you know that for almost a year or more, people refused to fetch water from those boreholes until the traditional ruler of that community had to summon a meeting, invite him, and ask people. He did boreholes in so places, about 4. People are not fetching the water. What happened? They said they don't know the source of his wealth. The last thing we knew about this young man was that he left secondary school and disappeared to Lagos. Then he came back, started throwing money around. He had to explain, bringing his colleagues in abroad that, he became a chartered accountant, started working with this big company, big company, he got this contract. He explained his source of wealth.
You can see when the issue of value.
Values.
Yes.
Values were still... But let me catch Ade in the UK. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Ade.
Good morning, Dr. Yori. And good morning to all my brothers in this studio.
Dario Dufoko and Dr. Daniel Kere.
Good morning.
Yes, Dr. Daniel Kere, the other brother.
Yes.
Assistant editor.
Dario Dufoko.
Dario Dufoko, yes. My contribution is this.
Yes.
I don't want to blame Nollywood as such. This thing has been existing for years. I remember 1973, 74. I was living at Iboguno.
Very good.
Somewhere, the place in Oroshopi side. So, then there are 2 famous magazines there. that is to come out. One is called Atoka.
Yeah.
In that Atoka, you will see where
we lost Mr. Jide. Exactly.
Yes.
The Atoka he was referring to is a Yoruba magazine.
Okay.
And again,
popular.
it's going into the culture because the culture is aware that most of its readers would have heard of this before, although it's always someone else, never the reader. You know, that kind of a thing.
So,
but I think I've been told to go on a break. Okay, Mr. Ade, we are back.
Okay.
yes. What
You-
I was trying to
you were
say
talking
is
about
that
Atoka.
there's a magazine called Atoka. The other magazine is called Sadness and Joy.
Yes.
So, yeah, those two magazines come out regularly then. But it is in the Atoka that you will read something like that in that time. So it's been existing for years.
Even drum of those days. You remember?
Yes. Yeah, I remember, of course. Why not? I remember. That's why I was just trying to say during that time, for those who are old enough to know that period.
Yeah.
You know, we rush for Sadness and Joy magazine, and we rush for Atoka. So it's been existing for years. It's not just starting today. But that time is the older people that are doing it. You put them in the wardrobe and money is coming down, Calabar.
So, Mr. Ade, people believe that this works, even though herbalists say there is no such thing. At least Yoruba herbalists, they're on YouTube, where people have questioned them, and they say that's the most stupid thing you can think about, that they as ritualists, as herbalists are telling you it cannot happen.
Don't believe them. They will not confess. Don't believe them. Don't believe them. Why do you think they are passing bill in local states that if Oba pass away, they should bury them according to their faith? Why? My brother, I don't believe they are deceiving people.
Okay.
God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ade, for calling in. Let me take that break now, but stay with us, please. And let me just give you this. You can call us on 902, that is 0902 416 3440. 0902 416 3440. I will see you on the other side of the break. Okay, welcome back. And I hear Mazi Okora for Inarochukwu is on the line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Our guest. You see, this issue of ritual killing, it has now turned to another diabolical situation. I don't know whether this would be into court or another Boca system. But the question is this: no matter whatever the House of Rep, whether a Senate or whatever they will pass, the question is this: Nigerians, do we really believe that God exists? Because if people believe that God exists, I don't think human beings will start looking for God. Now look at the issue of this Yahoo. I was discussing with some students last week. I said this Yahoo has not, they say, Oga, you see, this Yahoo has not to Yahoo Plus. I said, what do you mean by Yahoo Plus? They say Yahoo Plus is the one they add to court where you keep people. So is that also? So we have different Yahoo. We have Yahoo. They say yes. Why? He said, well, that those people that do call about Yahoo Plus, they use human beings, any part of human system to do what? To acquire more work, so that they are going to be reading billion, not question of billion million. I say, hey, now, parents, this children comes from a home. Your child acquires wealth, you don't even ask. And people come to celebrate wealth. The religious leaders come to celebrate wealth. When you bring a child, you go and build this for people, build this for people continue clapping hands. Don't even ask about the source of the wealth. That is why you see all this is going on. People are so desperate. A boy came last time, was people complaining what he said that he didn't know that they gave him free money. He didn't know it was not free. That they added, but he went for 500,000, they gave him 2 million. Before he touched they added to 5 billion. I said, what happened? That later when he went to pay back the money, he was making plenty money. They said, look, that he has already entered into their club. That club is a court that he cannot go back again. How many they gave him to take how many days you want to start 10 years or 20 days? Can you imagine?
All right.
So the area the government see that the local government and the regional educate people on the implications of this acquired wealth, the better for us.
Okay.
No matter the type of law they pass, the equal shop, work, and worship body is a problem. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant day in Lagos.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Mazio Korafo. Dr. Kerry, when you look at it, we were trying to speak about the belief systems. Now, if we're talking about 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids and acquiring their understanding and consequent belief systems, you pointed out, or somebody pointed out, that the people who are executing, helping them, those ones are not kids.
That's the point.
Those ones are not kids. Now, what can possibly be done about it, because we're dealing here with belief systems? Remember, I think it was back in when Obasanjo was a military head of state, I think he banned cults and secret societies outright. Even people like Freemasonry, they were, for a while, they were in trouble before things sort of sorted themselves out and they sort of proved themselves that no, we're not like that, whatever. I mean, the government has tried, but I don't know that it can work. Because you have heads of churches, you have heads of Islamic people who are part of, you know, this belief system. They understand it. They will not dare. They will not say no, it's rubbish. It doesn't. They will not condemn it outright.
How did government even ban cultism? It will just be a mere theory. What is cultism? Which one are you? Is it because secret cult or open cult? You know, so they have various cults. So the one you call secrets that you want to ban, oh, they are doing this, they are doing that, you know the root. Did you address it? Is it just by saying, oh, we don't want to hear of this, we don't want to see this, people should not practice this? Some of them have to do with even their faith.
Yeah.
So are you banning the faith as well?
Well, you see,
that is why it becomes so challenging to begin to talk about a ban. The only thing you can talk about is criminality can be something that the law will deal with. But because a gathering of that kind
with them. These youths can't do it by themselves. They certainly some people paying them. Let me hear from Taiwo in the UK. Good morning, sir. Or is it a lady? Taiwo in the UK.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Taiwo. I'm calling from London.
Go ahead, please.
I'm in London.
Okay.
Good morning to your guest, Mr. Dari, and the other gentleman there.
Thank you. Good morning, Dr. Kerry.
Both of you have spoken fine. My own contribution is this. One thing is for us to look at the young boys doing these things. Because,
and girls.
Like you said, charity.
And girls.
Charity begins from home. We know those people, those young boys, their parents, most of the parents support them. And this thing has been going on for long time now, that you people have known. Yes, something is for us to see from that aspect. But the other aspect of it, you won't believe that most of those people that we recognize or we look at the so-called millennials or whatever names you want to call them in Nigeria, don't believe, or you don't want to believe that they are behind all those things because they have those boys outside working for them. You understand? So when these things is happening, it has been happening for long, but those ones will not make us see it. One thing you will do in this country that you will not even want to even try, because you know there is no room for you to even hide anything. Yes, I never said they are not doing it yet, but it is not like what we are saying in Nigeria. So there are some people up there as well that are behind these things, because those guys that we call young boys have their godfather, like they said, because they want to go to any police station. If police arrest them today, don't believe, or you won't believe that before the day break, they will release them.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I will not hear anything from them again.
Yeah.
So that's my own contribution.
And I want to thank you for it very much, Taiwo.
Them
thank you very much for calling in from the UK. We go back to the whole matter about the belief system that we have. I can sit down here, again, as a Yoruba-speaking person, grew up, you know, in the culture. I can tell you, I think, one or two methods of how this goes. And every Yoruba-speaking person would also have heard of it.
Yes.
One particular method is that when they have done the deed, the herbalist, they then throw a handful of corn on the ground, and then begin to count how many that person cow that's how it eats.
And it takes 2 years. You have 2 years.
You have 2 years to live.
Yes.
And if you are lucky,
you are done with it. But
every Yoruba speaking person
has
heard this.
A fowl that will take 20.
You see, we've seen all of that, but don't forget the Clifford Orji. Was it Clifford Orji also?
Well, that one just liked human flesh.
Yeah,
that one is a cannibal.
No, it wasn't just a cannibal. People were coming. That was
that was assumed.
That was
reported.
No, that's what I was saying. That it was reported that people came.
We don't have facts.
But again, we didn't even hear more about that case again.
The court ruled that he is a cannibal.
Okay.
Yes.
That was the final judgment. He's a cannibal.
So you imagine how many people he will eat in a day.
He got the judgment. But the bottom line here is, if you listen to the latest, the boys involved in the latest issue in Abeokuta, interviewed, how do you intend to go about this?
One second, please, because Tony in the UK is on the line. I'll come back to it so you can pick it up from there. Good morning, Tony.
Yes, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to your guests.
Thank you.
Sure.
Dari and Dr. Ekere.
Yeah.
Good morning.
I'm just wondering, why is it that the government is not using the instrumentality of taxation? You know what I mean? You see these guys flaunting their wealth and nobody knows where they make their money from. Then use taxation. People have a mobile phone. I just don't know. We can complain from.
It looks like there's a problem.
Where it helps.
Sorry, Tony. The line is poor, so it keeps on cutting out on you. So this thing is this ritual killing idea, notion that it's even a possibility, it's deeply entrenched. And I don't think it's just about being a Yoruba person.
No, it's not limited to Yoruba.
I was talking about the last incident. And we asked these boys, how do you intend to go about it? They said their plan is to sever the head, burn it to ashes, mix the ashes with soap, start bathing with it. So what's the intention? They said from what they were told or what they read, the moment they start bathing with that soap, whatever they do will turn to money. Whatever they lay their hands on. So that is a function of they still having to do something. You see, this is where I said, look, it goes beyond what we will expect that government should just tell people, you have to stay away from it. We need to go deep inside the total, it's attitudinal. A mother who sees a 17-year-old boy coming home with ₦1 million and did not query the source of that money, rather quickly helped him to put the money to good use, as they will tell you. I know of a neighbor who's 17, it's not from 16 because the boy is in SS1. SS1 son is into Yahoo. And you go to their house.
Yahoo, by the way, is
criminality.
It's a fraudulent where Nigerians
this particular person
who defraud.
You know what she does? The boy has stopped going
on the internet.
The boy has stopped going to school in the morning. He now attends evening classes. So in the morning, the woman runs the generator for the boy,
so he can continue
his and his friends.
So he has power for internet.
Himself and his friends are inside, and you ask, where is the social person? Said they are inside working. So this is the kind of thing we need to encourage all this. Now those boys don't get people to dupe on the internet easily again. They resort to hardened charms, amulets, and fetish items and to aid them. And these parents still get to know about this.
And these things, as Dan was saying, we were speaking off camera, and Dan was saying that, well, yeah, be that as it may, these things don't always work.
But that's the truth.
These things don't always work because there are people who will tell you that forget it. If you want money, you've got to work. All these black magic I don't know what else to call it.
Even if it will work, it shouldn't be get cash
at the expense of somebody's life.
Yes.
So there's nothing
killing people.
You see, there's nothing that until maybe the societal attitude changes, and I don't know how you're going to change the attitude of the attitude among my own people. Because when I was a kid, mothers were very, very heavy on kidnappings. You know, look, if anybody gives you a sweet,
don't collect
biscuit, don't take it to.
Yes.
If anybody says, "Come, my son," run.
Yes.
You know, that was back in the day when we were children.
That was the training.
That was the training.
Then.
Because it means that they knew that there was danger out there.
It was always there.
Children were being kidnapped.
Yes.
No doubt. Well, nobody would tell us the details as children. You know, there you were about 6, 7, 8 years old. And you know, your mother is the encyclopedia of the world.
Yes.
So whatever your mother says, that one is confirmed.
We're thinking childless couples stealing children to make their own.
Yeah, you know,
that was
so many things.
So when they say that the National Orientation Agency should come into it, to do what? What is the
national? It has gone beyond that.
The level at it has reached beyond that. Really will be difficult for national orientation to do just jingles, because all they will do there is television jingles and the rest of it. Now it's just like what they do about citizenship and the rest of it.
Well, when they
this
is
not move anybody.
PVC.
Then again, we are talking about children flaunting some kind of wealth that they cannot justify. It does not end. What about even the adults? The elders.
When it comes to you flaunting wealth that cannot be explained, on the one hand, there's this. Let me just continue to refer to it as black magic way. Then there are other ways. You see you see social media posts of youths from another part of the country who are these youths are making pictures in planes, in private jets. In other words, it's way beyond any capability, or even if parents were to indulge their children. So you see, there are all sorts of.
But
the standard has gone down.
What has always been our response when attempts are made to curb this? We are digressing a bit. EFCC at a point was going after these young ones. I know of an incident in Abeokuta where a group of boys threw a party and said Yahoo ceremony or Yahoo carnival. And EFCC, when they packed them, started profiling them. You have to explain your source. Took the cars away. Is this yours? How did you get it? That was almost a national outcry. The EFCC is leaving corrupt politicians and going after.
That's the problem with democracy. That's the problem with democracy right there.
But exactly that's the society. That's
the society for you.
You see, but again, the EFCC equally knows the elders who are flaunting with that
point in time. We are talking about these young ones. They are criminals.
No, you see, beyond that, somebody
after the other.
Yeah, but somebody called. I said, even the ones you think have their money from cleansers might equally be part of this. That these boys could be killing for them.
Yes.
So why not carry out this exercise holistically?
We may not be able to do everything once.
You know, you see, we're concentrating on this now, guys. Yes. But there are also other ways of making.
I only said that to tell you that.
How about drug running? Drug running is another aspect.
We saw what Professor Akuyili went through the other time. So
because she wanted to stamp that out.
We know what is going on. And unfortunately, you see some of these things happen. The security agencies know exactly where they are, but they don't go after them.
But you can't. How can you go after them? What I mean by that is that you're going to have to come and subject them to the court processes.
That is the challenge.
You're going to need evidence.
But you must do that. That's the problem.
Well,
so our challenge should be to address the courts, the issue of the courts. How can we address this thing that the courts will be part of this process that will hasten up the system in order for justice to actually be
one other important problem, I think, is the fact that in this society we see what is wrong. Unfortunately, we don't always approach it and engage with it. In other words, ask questions. If I were to put up, 40, highbrow, high-rise things somewhere in Abuja or wherever, nobody will come and ask me.
Yes.
And that's a problem. That's a problem right there.
That is exactly what we are talking about.
Where's your shop? Where is your shop?
What are you selling?
I see you there on TV talking grammar all the time.
So
how come you now put up? Nobody will ask questions.
You know why nobody will ask
ask questions?
Nobody asks you because we seems to have accepted it in this part of the world that, look, make your money the way you want to. Somebody said, all way and away.
So Toby,
and that is why we are here.
So Toby Okechukwu of the PDP, Deputy Minority Leader, is saying the time has come
for us to ask questions.
Yes, an emergency
He's
must
saying
be
all way, no be way.
Yeah, and those questions should not be limited to this aspect. Let's ask this question generally. Already we've been talking about BVN. The government came up with a position that you must have a BVN that will be linked to your account and only for the National Assembly, and I'm afraid to come out to say that we still have about 40-something million accounts or whatever millions of accounts not linked. We equally have a situation whereby the federal government says, oh, all government resource monies must be in a TSA. We still found government agencies not having money there. Even the NFPC at a point. So when you have a government that gives policies and do not follow up on them, this is what you get. At the end of the day, you just come up with the policies that are not implementable.
Have we managed to?
By now, I expect that there should be consequences.
Are we now blaming government for the proliferation of this thing?
No, it's not about government alone. No, what I'm saying is that this is society. That's exactly what I'm trying to pass.
This is the society we're in.
Exactly. So it is not just about the youth. I say that's the nature of the
for
society
now, for me,
now.
we should look more at the youths. Because
they are the future.
Well, they are the future one too.
They're also very gullible.
They can be misled
easily
into doing some of those things. Adults, you see, in those days growing up, what we used to know is that people, men in their 50s,
some of them can be gullible. Can be
elders in their 50s, 60s, after struggling for years and not making ends meet. Those are the kind of people you used to hear get involved in rituals. Yeah. But what do we have now? How much struggle? Would you say a 17-year-old have gone through to
already
demand, to make him think that ritual is the next thing? It is
but there's a ground for that.
The issue of family.
There's a ground for that too, because don't forget that the young man of 17, 18 might not have done so much struggle, but he would have seen the parents go through that, and sometimes he's pained and they want to find it. You see somebody somewhere.
It is not an excuse for him to go through that.
Yes, it isn't. You know that.
These are the societal challenges we are talking about.
Societal challenges is no reason for anybody to take the life of another,
which everybody knows.
It's not a justifiable reason.
It is
not. Certainly,
it's no reason.
It's not a justifiable reason.
It is no reason at all.
In fact,
then events
taking a life.
It is no reason at all.
Taking a human life. You can't
the person's life you are taking also suffered.
But exactly. That is the whole point. Exactly. That lives are being taken casually. We needed to talk about it, and that's why we're just scratching the surface of this matter.
The surface we are scratching. That's the way to start as well.
Yes, that's the way to start.
It's one of the ways to start. Somebody else has equally moved.
Representative Okechukwu wants it to be
beautiful.
He has done beautifully well. I would have expected some of our reps, members, senators to speak about this first. But if he took that man doing that, I give it to him.
That is how
because it's a serious issue.
We are not feeling it everywhere.
Okay, do you also know that most of these boys we are saying are doing Yahoo? They are armed robbers.
That's another
and they are using Yahoo as a front. Even armed robbers in the real sense of it. And they cover up with Yahoo, and all of us, hey, he's a Yahoo boy. Yeah, being a Yahoo boy is no longer, is now something you can be proud of.
They think that you should be ashamed of.
It's something you should be ashamed of.
We've got to let go of it here.
So that's the challenge with this society.
Exactly. We just thought that we just touch base with it and try to understand what has befallen us.
Elections.
What has befallen us. You have that on credible information.
It can be proven.
Okay. All right, I think that is, let's leave it for now. Mr. Dario Dufo, Assistant Editor at The Nation, and Dr. Dan Ekere, Lecturer in Philosophy, Department, University of Lagos. Thank you very much, Dan, for coming on.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Okay, so that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.